Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Davis, and you are watching Conversations in Pop Culture. And yes, I am scandalous like an Ashley, and I have with me cosplayer Tiger Lily. So welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I am excited because I came across your profile on Etchy Fests, I guess Instagram, and some other people's Instagrams that came across my position. And you got a lot of cosplays and a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. But before we get into that, why don't you give a quick introduction of who you are and everything of that? Because some people in my audience might know who you are and others don't before we really get into everything you've done in cosplay.
Awesome. So I go by Tiger Lily 416 on Instagram. My name is Autumn. I am based in Texas. If anything else, I've started cosplay since I was about 14 or 15 years old. And it's just continued on since. I've been seen at Etchy Fiesta, Colossal Con, IkiCon. I kind of compete. I haven't won too many shows, but I'm hoping that'll change in the near future. But overall, just a fun, happy gal, just trying to live life in the cosplay world.
So let's talk about that. So how did you get into cosplay? Because that's kind of, I think, the $1,000,000 question for every cosplayer, and every
Exactly.
one of you cosplayers has a different way they got in. Yeah, every single one has a different.
Everyone is different, and that's what's fantastic. So the way I got started is my friend invited me to like a little Comic Con. Of course, she was dressed up as Harley Quinn, and for some odd reason, I just decided to go as Fiona from Adventure Time, the little swapped version of Finn. But that's where it all started. I was just running around, not knowing what I was doing, taking pictures with everybody, and it kind of blew up from there. And I think the first ever anime that I watched was actually Tokyo Ghoul. My crap's inverted. So yeah, I have an obsession with this man now, and that's where it all started. So I was just hooked on from there on.
Let's talk about that first one because also everybody has an interesting first experience, and there's a debate, I think, and I don't know if the debate is still going on, but it's been a while since I've been at a con and ultra in the scene of
Hmm.
cosplay. But I don't know if you made the cosplay or you bought it, but there's a whole debate going on with making a cosplay, wearing a cosplay, doing other stuff with your cosplays. And what was that like, even figuring that out? Because I'm a strong believer that if you just want to cosplay, it's supposed to be fun.
Hmm.
And the I mean the ends justify the means. So if you're having a good time and you bought your cosplay, I don't really see why that's a problem.
So, with my very first experience, I had it as a gift from one of my parents. He kind of just bought it because he knew my interest at the time. And in all honesty, I don't care whether you buy your cosplays, you make your cosplays, or you have them commissioned and you wear them as just like someone's model. I'm a strong believer of if you're having fun and consenting, that's all that matters.
Let's actually talk a little bit about this and dive into some of this also too, because obviously you've done a bunch of cosplays, and we're going to talk about a bunch of them. But how do you even figure out what you want to cosplay? Because that's the other thing too. Because I think that there are cosplayers, and especially when you get into the upper echelons, where when you have a Patreon and you're bringing in $30,000 a month, I don't know how much of a choice you really have in what you want to cosplay versus what your fans want or what's going to garner attention. But I also think that it's tricky to say, cool, I want to cosplay this, but I also have to play the whole Instagram game and fame game and recognizable game. And so, how do you figure out that balance? Because I think it's a real struggle right now for cosplayers.
So my thing is I'm not huge with like the cosplaying community. I'm known, but I'm not well known just yet. Hopefully. But I'm always trying to cosplay like background characters. So for instance, I've cosplayed from Death Parade. I've actually done Castra at Etchy Expo's first year, and I managed to catch the eye of her dubbed voice actor. I didn't know she was going to be there, but she caught me as Castra for the day and she went off. She was like you're cosplaying my character. And I just start crying. She starts crying. We're literally crying back and forth. She takes a picture, and I'm just like speechless. It's amazing. But I'm always trying to cosplay people who aren't really recognized. So, like Mako from Kill la Kill, she's not really cosplayed all the time. So, I know when I first started cosplaying her, so many people like were just being like, "Can I take a picture with you? I haven't seen a Mako ever." And with Castra, everybody's cosplaying the main characters, and things like that. But what I do is I usually just pick side characters, people who aren't really well known, or I just take things off the top of my head and I just kind of like throw them together. One example of that is definitely going to be my piranha plant. I know everybody's doing like Boozette and Bowsette and like all the main waifus, but I decided to just mix it up just a smidgen. I know some people have done it, but my piranha plant waifu, she's gotten me a first place award at a small convention, the Pflugerville Library Con, and it was everything to me because that was a character I had to put just different ideas together with and basically build her from the ground up in order to actually get where I am with just that award alone.
So to go even further, because we're gonna get into all of this in a second, but even figuring out when you build a cosplay too, how do you even balance material costs, time costs, you know, material replacements, budgeting, because all that stuff is also really tricky. And I'm not a cosplayer, but I have expensive hobbies, and I understand exactly what it means to budget, when you can and can't spend, how to subsidize your spending. I luckily have a hobby that I could sell off the parts of what I don't want in my hobby, that help to take care of the other parts that I do want. But how do you figure that out? Because that's also really complicated, because cosplay can go from being $100 to being $1,000 in a snap, like in a Thanos snap, just like that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just how you put it. It's definitely going to be more expensive if you're trying to master something. But the way I do it is I go thrifting. I pick small little fabrics up from like Walmart, Joann's, anything that's a little bit to my budgeting. But also thrifting. Thrifting by itself alone, if you can find like old fabrics that you can just tear apart, maybe tear off the sleeves, cut it a little bit, and just altering, I think that's the biggest saving for my end. Um, Anything like EVA foam or like EVA clay and the tools, those are definitely going to be higher end things because everybody wants to grab it. Anything that you can find around your house, as an alternative to like EVA foam. I know I have this damn inverted. I have this in my background. This is all made out of EVA foam, and those exercising mats that you find at the gym, they kind of look like steel, but it's just foam. But anything you find around your house, it can easily be used for cosplay. Um, and it's really just all up to you. Just depending on what fabrics you need or want in your costume, definitely look around your house first before you go out and seek fabric. If you can, check Walmart. They have some pretty cheap fabric. Joann's, they always have deals. Um, Download any apps that may have coupons for the stores you're looking for. And overall, just try to penny pinch, if you will. Just stay with me here, penny pinching. But it's all just up to your own imagination. If you have a 3D printer, by all means, use that to the best of your ability. If you can make a whole costume out of 3D printed items, do it. If not, thrifting is a-okay. There is nothing wrong with that.
So to go even further into this as well, because I mean, I haven't been to a con in almost 6 years. Um, for a lot of reasons, COVID hit, and I
Mhm.
thought I would miss it, and I don't. And I find them that I'm more effective outside a convention with this show, and I put my effort to where I think I'm the most effective in life. But when I was back doing cons 6, 7, 8 years ago, just as a fan, I saw a lot of cosplays that were accurate but didn't look very comfortable. And I saw a bunch of people standing around and they really couldn't sit, or it's difficult to sit. And do you also feel though that in today's age there's a shift where you don't need to be as accurate? You can use, yeah, I don't want to say cheaper fabrics, but more comfortable fabrics, and that you don't have to be 100% accurate, and that stigma that, oh, you're not nailing this character perfectly, where if they wear high heels instead you're wearing sneakers. And like, because I think that that's like, it sounds weird the way I'm saying it, but there gets a point where it's just like, okay, like, I think that also might be helping to some degree with expenditure, because now if you don't have, like, you have a fabric that looks like latex but it's not latex, there you go. So I don't know how you feel about that, but like, that's what I've noticed just on Instagram alone. So, but I could be wrong completely on that.
So my thing is that there is a stigma that everybody has to be perfect. Cosplay has to be accurate. I don't think that's true at all. In my experience, if someone is wearing high heels in their cosplay and they think they're 100%, that's okay. You can have that opinion. They may be 100% in their head and to others, but in your head, that's all that matters. Like if you want to wear sneakers for your comfortability, that is perfectly fine. No one is going to absolutely dog you in public just because you're wearing sneakers. If you are comfortable in your body, in your clothing, and in your accessories, that is a-okay. Now, if you are on Instagram, some people are going to be like nitpicking, but you really just have to leave that out of out of what you're trying to portray. If you're portraying a person in your own art way, that's perfectly fine. If you want to be completely accurate, need the shoes, need the hair, need the accessories, perfectly fine.
Did you
Other than that,
also do you also feel that if you're just going to a con and you're going there to have a good time, because my experience is that if I'm going to a convention and I'm not guesting, I'm not competing, I'm not, somehow representing anything, I don't need to be perfect in any way. If I'm just a fan panelist and I make a mistake in a panel that I do, and they give me a free badge and I make a mistake, most people aren't gonna beat the shit out of me for it. You know what I mean? But if all of a sudden I'm representing a company and I misrepresent something and I'm being paid a lot of money, that's a different discussion completely. And so, like, I mean, that's just how I feel. So when somebody is just doing a closet cosplay, I'm not expecting them to be 100% perfect. But if somebody is doing a professional photo shoot, has 500,000 Instagram followers, and is representing a real, like a wig company, and really representing products, I think the standard's also different at that point, because now you've raised it up so much that you've gone from being, I'm just a fan, to being a representative. And
mhm.
so that's just my take on it. Where if, like, somebody is, the character wears high heels and they're wearing sneakers, I chances are I'm not even going to notice unless you make it so that I have to notice.
Exactly. Some things you can definitely hide, like shoes. If somebody's wearing a ball gown and their person usually wears heels, they could easily lengthen that dress to the point where you can't even see their shoes. So it just looks like they're floating across air. And so many people have done that. And I remember on Instagram, I saw a little Boozette cosplayer. Her legs are blacked out and she's actually riding on a scooter, but she made prop legs to make it look like she was floating as a ghost or a boo. So if if she's perfectly comfortable with riding on a scooter, or if you have a disability and you just want to portray yourself as that character accurately, use that to your advantage. Hide within your realm, hide that object within the cosplay. And nobody's going to judge you for it. Yes, some people have a higher platform and they're held to a higher standard, but they should be able to make certain tweaks in order to feel comfortable as well.
Fair enough, fair enough. But I really want to dive though into some of your cosplays, because you've done some stuff in anime, and I think you did Celti, and just I think that's Durara, right?
Yes.
Durara is a complicated show. It's good and it's very meta, but it's complicated. And so what's the story with doing Celtic? Because I don't know if this is necessarily a difficult cosplay to build or create, but it's kind of stark to some degree. And what's the whole story? Because it's a latex suit and a motorcycle or cat helmet. I'm not trying to diminish it, but like, it doesn't seem that hard to do.
So with Celti, I actually did borrow her from a friend. They were letting me just cosplay with them, and I didn't have anything to wear. So they were like, "Look, I don't fit this at this moment in time, and I think you would pull it off." So luckily, I fit their whole bodysuit, and all it was an Amazon like zip up one piece or like bodysuit, biker suit. I had some boots just lying around, but the helmet itself was literally just a biker helmet. They had some EVA clay that they built the ears up to. They completely spray painted the helmet, the ears, the detailing alone was just immaculate. So if you have an old helmet, exactly. I love the representation. I love the little the little pictures. So literally just a black bike helmet, and they covered the visor, painted it yellow and blue, added the ears to it, and there you go. That's a whole cosplay right there.
So let's even go into this a little bit further because this is simple in many ways, but it's a great cosplay because it's simple. It's kind of like some of the best breakfast foods in the world are the simplest. Making eggs and bacon on Sunday morning is simple, and that's actually not true. You could really screw up eggs and bacon, but not the point here. Not the point here. As I was thinking about saying it, I just realized how badly you can mess it up. But anyway, not the point. But like, what is that like? Because that's why I like this cosplay. And then we're gonna get into a few others that are a little bit more complicated, but like it works. And also, I think anybody can do Celti in a lot of ways. And so, what's that like for you to be like, cool, I'm doing something simple, but also it's recognizable. And it's also people know this character, whether you've seen Do a Rot or not. Because when you get into cosplay, sometimes there's characters people do know and they don't know. And what is that whole thing for you?
So, with that, if it's easy for you to do, definitely do it. Always start off small, and then as you're progressing down the road of making bigger cosplays, getting to know the community more, definitely go and practice your skills. Definitely put them to the test. Um, for that one in particular, pretty simple. Old bike helmet, add some foam to it, paint it. Perfectly fine. Buy outfit, you're perfectly fine. So with that, I definitely only started out with buying my cosplays. Um, and I just wanted to test my theory. Like, hey, maybe I can just make cosplays because, of course, not everything comes in on time and you just kind of go with it. But I myself definitely like to test my limits, and I like to put the drawings or like the images that I have in my head to reality. With Celti alone, I watched the anime and I was like, "Oh, she would be fun to do." Met my friend, she let me borrow it, and it's fully just bringing the character to life that does it. As long as you know the character's background, how they act, and you can put that into reality, everybody will either know who you are and they'll love it, or they will try to get to know who that person is and then do their research on it.
No, see, I find it interesting, and I like simplicity. And then you've done a bunch of other stuff. Obviously, you did Mako from Kill la Kill, which is an amazing show, and oh my god, just brilliant, brilliant show in many ways. A lot of stuff's in that show.
Oh, oh, so much in that show.
It's really a show about geometry. Um,
Mm, personality.
the amount of shapes that are in that show is wild. It
Absolutely.
the director of Kill la Kill was a director who did Dead Leaves, who did Gurren Lagann, and there's a reason why that show is brilliant, and it was definitely something. I enjoyed
Mhm.
that show a lot, but not the point. But what is that like to do Mako? Because you were speaking about it earlier, but obviously she is a support character, an important support character, but it's also, I've seen a few Makos out there, but it's kind of not the one people want to do from that show. And also Kill la Kill's a little bit older now, and so it's a little bit out of the forefront. And I don't really know the anime lexicon because when I grew up, I'm 31. You needed to watch Dragon Ball Z. If you're a guy, you need to know Full Metal Alchemist, Code Geass. You need to have some Gundam knowledge. If you were a girl, it was Fruit Baskets and Sailor Moon were the two for females. Hopefully I'm not sounding like sexist here, but that's just what it was. There was like 6 to 8 animes, and now it's very much divided. And so, what is that like? Because there's people who probably don't know Kill la Kill, and there's people who say, "Oh man, this is the new generation stuff," and then there's just some other stuff in between. So, what is that like to kind of just be playing around with these characters? Because it hits a newer but not ultra newer demographic per se.
So I'm always a classic woman. If anything else, I started out with Tokyo Ghoul halfway in middle school, and I went through Inuyasha, Tokyo Ghoul, Death Parade, all of the borderline middle, like between old anime and new anime. Started out with those. Started to really get into it when I started watching like Dragon Ball, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer. What else is there? What else did I just watch that's new? I forget which one it is. It's about the girl who can see ghosts, and it's nothing but fan service, but it's like kind of cool. I forget what it is.
I don't know this one.
Damn. But anyways, it's a girl who can see ghosts. And of course there's some episodes where there's fan service in there. And it's pretty good, but if anything else, I'm all about the horror genre. But if anything else, if you start out with just getting recommendations from people, it's basically gonna be either something new, like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen and Hell's Paradise, compared to like Dragon Ball, where they have years upon years upon years before you can actually understand it. You just got to find that fair ground and definitely start with something that has like 12 episodes, and then you can move on to like maybe 4 seasons and 12 episodes, and then you can go to One Piece. That's all I'm gonna say, because One Piece is not for me. I do not have the attention span for it, and I'm so sorry, but it's true.
Fair enough, fair enough. And since we're talking about anime, we might as well talk about My Hero Academia. I am a big, big fan of My Hero. I enjoy My Hero. I enjoy this character. And what's the story behind this? Because obviously Mirko is a fascinating character, and if you know what happens to her, uh,
Oh,
it's pretty brutal.
uh,
But my hero is interesting to say the least.
true. So with My Hero, I first started out in maybe my freshman year of high school, just dabbling in it. If anything else, I was kind of like, huh, the main character's kind of annoying, but we'll get past that, I think. But with Muroko, she's definitely one of the personal cosplays that I like to do due to the fact that she is one of the many characters in the anime community that is represented by African American or just more tan, darker skinned people or women. And I find the representation a lot more comforting. And just to be confident in my body, her legs alone are gorgeous. And that is like my favorite part of my body is just my legs, my ass. And it's phenomenal just to run around and just show them off. Like, a little skin never hurt nobody. Obviously, you got to do it appropriately when there's kids around, so you wear pantyhose. But it's phenomenal just to be her and like flex and like do everything else in between and just portray that character and honestly just represent her from the show and show the creators this is a very strong character. This is a character that can take you miles and nothing wrong with that.
So to dive into that too, because obviously anime characters are sexy to some degree, and it's not just the girls. There's plenty of guys that are sexy in anime too, and you know, I mean, hey, I watched Free. You know, Free.
Oh no.
I enjoyed Free. I enjoyed Free a lot. I've also watched Queen's Blade too. And if you watch both of those things back to back, you get a very, very, very interesting perspective on a lot of things.
For sure. For
It's kind of like
sure.
if you watch Gurren Lagann and Galaxy Express 999, you might want to watch something cheerful like Cheese Sweet Adventure afterwards because you might not make it. It was no. It's Grave of the Fireflies, Gurren Lagann, and Galaxy Express 999 that you should never watch all those in a row. The, the,
Oh.
I tried. It was bad. Let's just say after watching Grave of the Fireflies and Gurren Lagann, I'm like, oh my god, what's the point of living here?
Oh.
But
Let me
I
be isekai, please.
but I digress. So, but what is that like? Because anime characters are sexy, and where do you even figure out where the balance is at a con? Because there's, I guess, family friendly cons. There's cons that also shift over at a certain time. There's also adult panels at cons. There's also other things that happen at cons or raves or clubs or whatever you want to call them. But then there's also 18 plus cons that you can go to that also have different rule sets. But how do you figure out that, hey, is this character acceptable? Because, and we'll use a character, you've done Lola Bunny. Lola Bunny, I think, is a relatively safe character if she is wearing her Space Jam uniform at any convention. But then you might have another character from Bleach like this that might not be so safe per se at a family friendly con. And so, how do you figure that out? Because I think this is fascinating on what is allowed, what isn't. And then you have, what is it, Colossal Con? Is that the one that's at like a water park?
Yeah.
And so, naturally, everybody is either in a swimsuit or a bikini. But again, that also has a different rule set than if you're doing New York Comic Con.
Right. So with that, I do attend family oriented and I do attend 18 plus events. Sometimes they do blend at the end of the night where they have like adult hours and everybody's being ID'd and everything else in between. My rule is I will check the website. I would definitely check their dress code. I will definitely make sure that if it is a family plus event or family oriented event, I am covered from almost head to toe. So if I show off my shoulders, that means I can show off my arms. I definitely keep my boobs covered. Little to no cleavage. I know for my soifon, her side cleavage sticks out. For that cosplay itself, I had to use like double-sided tape just to keep my sides in and just to make sure everything was covered. I definitely go with friends and I'm like, hey, is anything showing by any chance? And they're like, nah, you're good. And I'm like, cool, great. So always check in with friends and just be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. What's your take on this? And they're like, yes, you can do that person. No, you can't do that person. Where it kind of blends in between for like family oriented, but they have an adult hour. I just tend to wear like shorts, maybe like a crop top that shows a little bit more. Other than that, it's not too much. That's where consent and adults being adults should step in. not just letting kids intervene because you know them, definitely checking IDs, definitely being honest with staff and making sure you are in the appropriate place at the appropriate time when there is no drugs, alcohol, or whatever being introduced in between. With 18 plus events, everyone is ID'd. Everyone is safe and adults, and nobody is going out of control unless you just want to be a moron and you want to get kicked out and banned for no reason. So, with those events, it's definitely pasties, thongs. It's pretty much NSFW. Anything goes for the artists, but as an adult, you need to make sure your genitals are covered, boobies are covered. Guys, too, they have to wear pasties and they got to make sure their junk is away. But it's overall reading the rules, consenting to what you're going to be into, and definitely being mindful of which characters are adults, which characters are childs. We don't do lollies. Some people do lollies, which is that small line where you're like, maybe I shouldn't bring them. But it's all about consent, reading the rules, and overall just
So
trying.
let me ask this because this is I think interesting, right? So I guess do you feel that at an 18 plus con that people are more adult, that there's more freedom, that people are mature enough to handle this and that they kind of know what they signed up for? And that I don't want to say lines are blurred because that's not exactly what it is, but there's everybody understands that you're entering an 18 plus event. When I go to a bar, it's 21 and up. That doesn't mean that there's not somebody stupid or somebody will make a stupid remark trying to, they see a cute girl and they're trying to say something witty. I've done that, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But everybody's 21. You
Mhm.
know, and sometimes people get messed up. You're in a college town and you have a bunch of 21, 22 year olds. Things happen, but for the most part, nobody is being a massive, I guess, moron, for lack of a better word. So, do you feel that when you're at an 18 plus event, that there is an element of more maturity, or that do you feel that there's just more freedom, or that people signed up for it, so there's expectations that are automatically put in place versus at a family friendly con that at some hour or in certain panels shifts over, but then it shifts back once you leave that room. Because that's where I think things get really complicated. Because that existed when I was doing cons, where you would have an 18 plus panel, but then a floor down, they're just talking about your favorite Naruto character. And it's like they're showing hentais, making hentai recommendations in one panel, and legitly down an escalator. It's like Sasuke is gonna kick Naruto's ass tomorrow. Like,
Exactly.
but it's tricky, right?
Mhm. So with that, when you go to an 18 plus event, sometimes there's like 21 plus and things like that. If you go to an 18 plus event, that's what you're signing up for. You are taking on more responsibility to be an adult, to represent yourself as an adult, to be taken more seriously. Now, if you go to an 18 plus event and you just see a bunch of jackasses running around, yes, it's going to happen, but there's more consequences for those people due to the fact that they are now being taken as an adult. When you go to a family event, sure, you're going to find everybody of all ages, and you're definitely going to run into a lot younger kids who are going to be kids. Sometimes they don't know where the line ends and where the line starts. So you kind of just take yourself out of that position. Now, where it blends, it's more up to the staff to just make sure, hey, I'm checking IDs, I'm making sure this person is going to this level, and then if this person is not allowed, I'm taking the necessary precautions to keep that person out of the adult level. So that way I'm not getting in trouble, I'm not getting bashed, and this kid isn't being exposed to anything they're not supposed to be exposed to. Now, the tricky thing about that is fake IDs. That is where I feel like it's on the parent. But if that kid is on their own and they just have a fake ID, it's really on that person to make sure like, hey, this is a fake ID, and I need to do my job as staff to make sure that this kid isn't exposed to things they aren't supposed to be exposed to.
No, I find it interesting. I've never been to an 18 plus event. I'm going to Erotica Con in Jersey in October with
Okay.
with a guy friend, but we're not a couple.
Ah,
Make
perfectly
that
fine.
crystal clear. I'll make that crystal clear to everybody. We're gonna have a good time though. It's gonna be fun. But I've
We're
never been.
homosexual around here. It's fine.
He is a very attractive man. But but we're not a couple, and I am a straight white guy, and even
The
if I
cis
was gay,
hetero man, it's fine.
even if I was gay, it'd be hard to pin him down. I understand that I could get a 7, and my friend's like a 9. I get it. I'm okay with knowing the level I could play at. I'm fine, but every once in a while, with a girl, I play above my weight class. Every once in a while, and every once in a while, I'm shooting 3 or 4 threes in a row. I could keep going with smart. I could do better than Caitlin Clark did in her last game.
True.
Three pointers. She made me money, but boy, did that girl make me sweat.
Exactly. We were
Oh my
nervous the
god.
whole fucking time.
I mean, I had like $2 that she was gonna get 3 or more 3-pointers, and it took her to like the fourth quarter to get that third 3. And I'm like,
What took you so
sweetheart,
long? Exactly.
you're supposed to be the 3-point person here. Like,
You're making me
it
lose
was
too
very
much bank, and I'm tired of it.
it's very nerve-wracking. It was very upsetting. But but the point is that I don't know. I've never been to one of these events, so I don't know anything about it. And again, I find it fascinating. I find it fascinating for a lot of reasons. And so there you go. But I do want to dive into some other stuff that you've done in cosplay because I do like Disney a lot. And
My
so
Dr. Facilier. Oh, that's a great example of closet cosplay. Jesus Christ. And for sure, I was obsessed with Princess and the Frog, and Dr. Facilier is like my number one Disney villain. And literally, it's a random top hat I found, an old Dia de los Muertos dress that I had in my closet, and basically just taking a reference to his makeup, and that was it.
see that to me seems like a family-friendly cosplay.
Very much so is. I've never taken Dr. Facilier outside, but it's when you do villains, Disney villains, anything Disney like Nickelodeon or just like video games, for instance. Um, Kids are definitely going to notice, and you have to put yourself in that position of, oh, I don't work at Disney, but I'll be a Disney character for the day. Like I'll get into that character, but you just have to know who your audience is. So if you're running around with kids, be
It's interesting.
prepared.
It's interesting you mentioned this, right? So if I'm interviewing somebody who all they do is Disney cosplays, I try to tame my language on my
Mhm.
show downward. It still slips. I'm still a 18 plus. My YouTube show, my podcast, it's 18 plus for a reason because there's a lot of stuff that is definitely more adult on my channel. But I also recognize that if somebody is the top Cinderella cosplayer in the world, it's gonna be discovered by somebody who is probably not 18.
Mhm.
So I'm smart enough to understand, and also it's a little weird, and I'll be honest, that if you're doing Cinderella in a bikini, it's a little weird. I'm just gonna say it. That I'm not saying it can't be done, and I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong or it's unethical, but there is a little bit of a component. It's kind of like if you took Angelica from the Rugrats and put her in a bikini. It would be a little weird. It'd be a little like I'm not too sure if this is the right idea here, but if you put, I'm trying to think of a character. If you put Sakura in a bikini, not as weird, If you
Yeah.
put Starfire in a bikini, not as weird, because actually Starfire has worn a bikini, but not the point. it's the idea that certain, I feel, characters like Dr. Facilitator should not be, sexualized.
Mhm. So with that, there's a time and a place, and you just have to know when that time is. Any from for me alone, any character that is seen on a kids TV show, you cannot take that to a family friendly event and sexualize it at all. Off limits completely. So, I know with Lola Bunny, if I'm Lola Bunny at a convention with family, great example. This is actually at IkiCon. I had a little girl. She noticed me. And luckily I was outside just taking pictures and she noticed me. And I asked her, like, hi, how are you doing? Just very much so being Lola Bunny. Just I had a basketball with me and she was like, can I take a picture with you? Oh no.
Sorry.
You're okay. So it's definitely a time and a place. If you're around kids, don't sexualize that character. Lola Bunny, she can be easily sexualized, but there's a time and place. With that child, I did take a picture with her. I had her hold the basketball. She got super excited. Me and her hugged it out. I talked to the parent more than I talked to her due to the fact that I'm like, mm, maybe I shouldn't just direct it to the kid. Maybe I should just direct it to both parties. So that way it's not weird. But yeah, she had a great time. Now, if I took Lola Bunny to an 18 plus event, I would definitely have her in maybe like a bikini, maybe just like a bunny suit and some fishnets. Other than that, I don't
So, I
want.
mean, I'll be honest. Lola Bunny, it has a sexual undertone to it automatically, but it's
Mhm.
understandable because obviously Bugs is into her a little bit. She is a sexy rabbit, but I don't think and in Space Jam, which is an awesome movie, her character is a female character on the court, but I don't think she's over sexualized in Space Jam. But you see Lola Bunny, and it's like I'm like, oh, Lola Bunny's hot. Like I don't know how to explain that. Like as a
It's the tiny furry in you that's just like, I'd hit that.
but I think most people understand that oh, Lola Bunny is hot. Like it's kind of like a attractive woman walks into a room. I'm with 3 or 4 of my guy friends, and we're at a bar. We're like, oh, that girl's attractive. It doesn't mean that she's over sexualized, but at the same time, if you walk around in a micro bikini with Lola Bunny on at a family friendly event, I mean, it's over the top.
Mhm. Yeah, so with Lola Bunny, she can be played as both. She can be played as very innocent, very family friendly, and that's what the movie is about. It's a family friendly thing. And then they had her in longer jersey, longer shorts to be more family friendly. Don't agree with it because her outfit was perfectly fine in the first movie, but we won't talk about that. She can definitely go both ways. She's smoking hot. I can definitely do something with her, or I can just be a family friendly friend and I can literally just interact with people, just being casual. And I don't have to sexualize her.
And then obviously there's some other stuff. Obviously, I think you spoke about this one.
My Castra, she was actually in the works. I had the headpiece done. I had gotten it at Walmart and she took forever just to find and make. But the bikini, it was a summer event just at Kalahari, just a little indoor water park. So I was like, I can bring the bikini in here, but as soon as I leave the water park, I have to cover up. Plain and simple. It's it's nothing against anybody's body. Like if you have a bikini on, leave it in the water park. If you're walking across the hotel, cover up. There is children at this event and honey, there is going to be parents cussing you out because you're in a micro bikini and you thought it was cute to run around outside of the water park in it and you're being asked to leave. That's it. Just cover up. Be mindful. I know you're comfortable, but it is a family event. you have to cover up outside of the water park. Plain and simple. Now, if you have like some booty shorts on and like a crop top, yeah, you can run around the hotel in that. That's fine. Like you're covered, but no micro bikini is leaving that water park section unless you are covered up. That is it.
I'm just gonna plead the fifth. I'm just gonna plead the fifth. I understand.
Look, there's
Again,
families, there's children. Children should not be exposed to titties so early on.
I
Now, if you're at
I'm
an 18,
I'm so boring and I'm so conservative and I'm so like milk toast. Like everything that what makes me excited is that like I buy a stock and then it pays me a monthly dividend. Like or I sell like a comic that I bought for 20 bucks for like $80 on eBay. Like I'm so boring and then and then I'm like, "Oh man, that was a great football game." Like I'm so boring and I'm just so like I just want to be left alone and I'm quiet and like I go to a con and like this is my whole thing is that like if I have a hotel room at 9 o'clock, I'm in my hotel room reading like a book or a manga or I'm watching like anime. Like I'm so like I don't want to deal with any of you people ever. Like, after 9 o'clock, I don't want to deal with you. I have noticed
oh,
and it's nothing against you or anybody else. It's I'm done. I start at like 10 in the morning. I go to 9. I'll sit at the bar from like 9 to 10 o'clock, drink my Jack and Coke, and then I'll go back to my hotel room and I'll like read a book. Like I'm so boring.
me, I am an omnivert. I have my extrovert moments and then I have my introvert moments. And when they blend, I'm like, cool, this is great. But at a certain time, this old lady's got to go take a nap because I am so angry and I get so crabby when I'm not fed and I did not sleep.
I love presenting and I love interacting. Like I did a Gundam panel when in DC, and I was speaking. I did the women of Gundam, so I was exploring Gundam through the women characters, and the
Hmm.
conclusion of it is that a lot of those women aren't great in that whole thing, and the men aren't great either. But it's a really interesting lens to explore something. The first one, so you pick 6 women and you're exploring it through their perspective of what's going on, and the only good person in that whole show is Frabo,
Hmm.
but she's not a very strong female character. And Silent Mass is also has one moment, but Cecilia Zabi is a complete bitch, but a strong female character. I
Exactly.
mean, I mean, the fact that she basically sets up somebody who attempted to rape her and gets them killed as an act of revenge. I mean, if you don't realize what a strong woman that is, but also how deadly and how sociopathic that is, I mean, it's a fascinating panel. But what happened is that after the panel was over, me and 6 people were just having an hour and a half discussion about it afterwards, just in the hallway. So like I am very much that, but at 9 o'clock, I'm done, guys. I'm going home. Like it's time.
That
It's time.
social battery starts to drain, and you're like, okay, I've used it enough to my extent, and I'm ready to go.
I also have a theory that nothing good can happen at an anime con after 9 o'clock.
Mm, it depends on who you're with, for sure. If you're out in public, you're gonna get hit on. So many drunk guys, women, they them, you're gonna get hit on. Nothing.
I've
Let's say
heard some
nothing.
stories. I've heard bad stories, and I'm just like, you now see why I don't go to after parties. You now see why I don't do this. Everybody, I legitly just go back to my hotel room. I pour myself a drink, and I'll read a book. And guess who's safe at night? Me.
Uh,
And then I never have a bad time at a con because I don't put myself in trouble. And
so it's not necessarily people looking for trouble; it's trouble looking for people. So if this person is going out with the intent to hurt someone, they're making it worse on everyone else. So my thing is I will never go to like an after party by myself. I will never go to like a room party that I'm not aware of who's going or who is there. And I will always keep my group with me. I have like a small little con family that I go with. So that way I have someone who's witnessing what I'm doing. I'm the witness to seeing who sorry. I'm witnessing whoever is doing what they're doing. We have a checks and balance. You have a small group, you go with that group, and you
Interesting.
get departed, if you get departed, get out. Just get out of
So
there, contact.
I'm also a different beast because I'll go to an anime con, and a lot of the anime cons I used to go to were on home turf, so I wasn't even staying in the hotel. So I used to live in DC, so I go to Anime
Mhm,
USA, but I wouldn't stay in my hotel room. I would stay in my apartment because I take the metro. It's a 25-minute metro ride, and guess what? I'm back home in my own bed. So, that's how I felt, and then I used to do Awesome Con at DC, and a lot of that was I was doing business. So,
mhm.
I'm buying and selling books, so, like, I don't wanna go to an after party. I just did, like, 4 grand worth of business. I wanna go home and I wanna, like, just grab a quiet dinner because when you just bought $2,000 worth of comic books, you wanna get that stuff home and safe.
Exactly.
So, like, for me, a lot of this was business too. So, like, I don't wanna be necessarily a part of that scene because I'm conducting business, but I
Mhm.
find it interesting because I was never in those circles. And I don't know if I wanna be because I kinda like what I'm doing and I feel comfortable doing it. And I just heard horrific stories from a lot of people about, people being drugged, other things happening, bad events happening, and I'm just like, "You know what? This is a good deterrent. I'm 31 years old. I don't need this shit. I don't need it. I don't need these
Exactly.
problems." And that's how I feel. So, but I get why people wanna do it, and I get why people wanna have a good time, and I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm 31. If I was
Mhm.
ever gonna do that, that would've been 10 years ago. So,
True.
I'm an adult, and I have other things going on in my life, and to be honest, I'd rather, play Call of Duty or Welcome to the Show on my Xbox.
Right. It's all about knowing yourself, whether you can be in that situation of, "Oh, I can be out there. I can go do what I need to do and, have a good time." But if you aren't aware of those surroundings and you just need to take a step back, by all means, go do that. Like, go to your hotel room. Just chill with your friends that like, die hard. Those are my people, they won't do anything. So, it's all about knowing yourself, having a small group, and if you don't want a small group, just be an introvert. You're okay. You can still attend anime conventions. You can also go home and have a good time. I mean, there's free food back at the house. Are you kidding me? I don't have to spend $25 on some chicken strips. That is the best. Let's do that instead.
Oh, man. Cons and pricing of food is ridiculous.
Oh, it's terrible. But that's why cosplayers go all day without eating and then they're all cranky. And then as soon as they get to their hotel room, just melting away and eating anything that they want. And it's a great time. But definitely eat throughout the day so you don't get cranky and overheat. And drink water. For the love of God, drink water.
So many things I could say. So many things I could say. Obviously, I do want to talk about two more cosplays. So this one right here is definitely your cat girl.
Yes. So she was actually a gift from one of my friends. It's pretty much just a little one piece and then some stockings. I just threw her together. I was like, oh, it's a little cat. It'll be fun.
So what is that like though? Because obviously, people like cat girls, people like cat cafes. They're fun. Every New Year's, John Myers plays with his cat in a Tokyo bar. Um, as Andy Cohen is asking questions. Um, that's a whole different. No, no, no. There's nothing sexual about that, by the way. It happens. There are cat bars in Tokyo apparently, and
Mhm.
you could go play with a cat, and it's a good time. But no, I digress. But what is that like? Because obviously that targets a demographic, and people like cats, and people like cat girls. And what's the whole thing with that? Doing something like that because it's kind of fun.
So she wasn't really any specific character. I just kind of put her together because I wanted to be comfortable on a Sunday. So I kind of just threw her on and just went out to take photos. But things like that, it's being more comfortable. I know with like animals, I love cats and bunnies. That's my thing. I don't know if you've seen my Instagram page, but it's just cats and just bunnies. But there's the aspect of, huh, could I possibly be a furry one day? Let's try this out without diving too deep into it. So it's just playing around with whatever you're comfortable with. I know for sure. What was I gonna say? I want to do like I forget what the term is, but it starts with a K. But it's where you wear just like little ears and like a little tail, and you kind of act like nothing happened, but you just go out into public and you're like, yeah, I have tails in an ear. What's wrong with that? I love it. I think it's so cute, and you're just being you. You're not doing anything to
I'm
anybody.
so boring. I'm so boring.
Why is that?
I'm so boring. In which that like I tried cosplay, it doesn't do it for me. I like presenting and I like talking, but I'm just boring and you know like I don't know.
Hey, look, put on a maid dress. I can guarantee you so many compliments. You're gonna want to do it again. It's so exhilarating to watch boys to just wear maid outfits and they're over here flexing and they look so good. I know my boyfriend, he just recently put on a maid outfit and literally guys and girls are just lining up to take pictures with him and he's just flexing with the boys and he's like just posing with the girls and I'm like, oh, I see how it is. You still in my spotlight, but I see you, baby. You look cute as hell. Oh,
There was a girl and she explained to me that she loves when men wear panties.
ooh.
And I was just like, if we were a couple, I would consider. And that was and this is during like an interview, and it was great. It was great. She's like, most girls, and she gave me relationship advice. She said, find a girl who wants to see you in her panties. And I'm like, great. That's questions for date number two.
Absolutely. So my thing with that is, if you are very, very comfortable with your masculinity, and you're able to put on girls' panties, put on a dress, and still kill that shit, honestly the biggest turn on ever. Cause you're literally putting yourself out there. You're like, I don't give a fuck. I know I'm a guy, but I know I look good as fuck in a dress. That is the shit right there. That is the key to winning. That's it. That's all you gotta do.
Well, my ex knew I was a killer. And there was a
Ah,
moment when something happened and she did not expect what would happen next. And let's just say she's like, okay, okay, this is not what I was expecting from a boring, wild, tame guy. And
it be the quiet ones that do it for you. Ah,
let's just say that it was in a bar and several bouncers had to get involved.
oh
And a lot of people
no.
in the bar were not really we're like, "Oh, what the fuck just happened?" Because it was an interesting night.
Ooh,
Nobody
ooh.
got arrested, but it was an interesting night.
As long
But
as we're consenting.
let's just say that you should not smack my ex-girlfriend on her ass. Let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. And
You're okay in my books. You're okay in my books.
let's just say that if people didn't step in, it would have been much, much worse, and I probably would be spending time in jail. A good like
I'll bail
72.
you out. Don't worry. I got you, friend.
But I digress here. But that's the cat girl, and then I do want to talk about your piranha plant
Yes.
because that's the one that's also interesting, and I think this one is also relatively family friendly. Um, and it's not over the top in
Yeah.
that regard. I don't think that there's anything that would be offensive or not appropriate to wear at a regular con. But obviously, it's Mario. It's obviously the Mario movie. came out, which probably also helps
Oh,
this, you
oh
know.
my gosh, it did. It really did.
And there's just some other stuff with Petey Piranha, Piranha Plant. I don't know exactly Penelope Piranha, whatever you want to call this.
That's such a good idea. I didn't think about that until now. Oh, that's so good. Might steal it off of you and you'll get a small profit. But anyways, with my piranha plant, yes, she is definitely family friendly. She is seen some 18 plus conventions, but she's more on the tamer side. I just performed as Piranha Plant at Etchy Fiesta not too long ago. Everybody loved her. No kids were around, so that's that. But my Piranha Plant, she has been through the ringer. Yes, I still have my hands. She's been through the ringer. She has seen some better days. But I love her. I love her so much. She's my heart and joy, and she's won me first place at a small convention, and now she can die happily in the corner and be part of my plethora of things on my wall. But with her, she's definitely my favorite character to cosplay because she is very popular with both adults and children. I went to IkiCon with her one time, and I had a line of kids. Need I remind you, she has been through the works from ground up. I have worked on her so much. There is a trail of kids following behind me in my like kind of poofy dress, and they're like, oh, "It's a piranha plant!" And you just hear a bunch of them just running around, and I'm just like, "Where did y'all come from?" They're like, "Do you bite?" I'm like, "I can if you're bad. Don't let your parents tell me that though." And then I look at the parents and I'm like, have they been bad? They're like, no, they just want a picture. I was like, good. Come here. Let me show you something.
So
And I
let's talk about that a little bit too, because do they know that it's Mario, or do they?
oh,
I mean, no. The reason why I ask this is that because some people recognize that, oh, it's a piranha plant, but they don't know it's Petey Piranha Plant or a piranha plant from Super Mario Bros. But then there's other people who are like, I remember playing this, and then there's a new generation of people playing Mario. There's an old generation playing. I mean, my first video game ever was a Mario game. So
mhm.
like I've grown up on Nintendo, and I think a lot of people have grown up on Nintendo and things like that. And Mario is not going anywhere. I mean, the Mario movie probably helped a lot as well. So, what is that like? Because I'm sure that you also get parents being like, "This is really cool too." And I remember playing Mario and back in the day, and it's just like that's really cool, right? So, like,
I love the interactions that I get from kids and the interactions that I get from adults because when people see the hands, they're like, that's the piranha plant. I know that character and my kid knows that character. So they bond, I bond with them. And it's exhilarating because I'll have little kids run up to me. Hey, are you the piranha plant? Yes. Can I get a picture with you? Sure. And they're like, do you bite? No, but you can hold it if you want to. So I'll take off my hands and they are just mesmerized. And they're like, can I hold it? I was like, sure, put it on if you want to. And the parents are like, I want a picture with her. Like, I need y'all to move. I want a picture with her. This is my time. This is my childhood. And I'm
see,
like,
isn't it interesting, right? Because I had this conversation with Jesse Flowers, who plays
mm-hmm.
Toph from Avatar,
Oh,
during my
yes.
second interview with her. So one of the things that we spoke about is that there's a generation of that I'm 31. I don't have kids yet, but I'm hoping that I do, and that my kids are going to be watching Avatar: The Last Airbender and Korra, and then I watch Korra. And obviously, I've read the books, I've read the graphic novels, and so what happened during COVID, and me and Jesse were speaking about this, and it relates to, I guess, Mario and your Piranha Plant cosplay, is that there's the parents are now introducing their kids to what they grew up on. And the same thing happened with Avatar: Last Airbender and Korra. And now you have a second, third, fourth generation. Maybe not, maybe a third, not definitely not a fourth. I don't think it's old enough for a fourth yet.
I know.
But you have a second or a third generation now experiencing this again, and their parents are experiencing it, and it's a weird dynamic because nothing against, Space Jam's a little bit like that too to some degree, but I don't think it's as prominent as Mario and
Exactly.
other video game franchises like Legend of Zelda or Super Smash or Pokemon is another good example. And I don't think you've done a Pokemon cosplay yet, but if you do, it obviously crosses generations. And
Mhm.
that's a weird, I would imagine, reaction because when I do interviews that cross generations, I look at my demographics, I'm getting 21-year-olds and I'm getting 50-year-olds in that same demographic. And it's mind boggling.
So with that, I love just playing with old generations. I'm a very old soul. I know I'm only 23, but it's okay. I'm a very old soul at heart, and I love the classics. I love vintage things. I love the damn Atari. I literally have it in my garage. I have the Cube. My first Wii, I literally went and cried my little heart out because it stopped working for some reason. And then I went to go buy another Wii. Like, I have a Switch. Yeah, it's fun and all, but I still play Just Dance on my Wii. And for adults in this day and age to still teach their kids things that they used to grow up on, that's what I love. Like, that's what I strive to be as a parent when, if and when the time comes. Um, but that's what I want to teach my kids, like manners, all the things I grew up on, I want them to have. So that way they're not little assholes or like they're not just being tyrants to the world. They're at least mindful of what it was like and where they should start off and then grow them to be awesome adults.
Oh man, my kids are gonna be monsters and I love it. I'm gonna turn both if I have 2 or 3 kids, I'm gonna turn them both or all 3 of them into me and miniature me's, and I'm gonna make them all entrepreneurs. I'm gonna make them
Yes.
all be like just making millions and millions and millions of
They're
dollars.
going to be tiny degenerates, but that's okay.
It's gonna be so amazing, which just I'm gonna teach them how to be successful, and I'm gonna teach them the way that I wasn't taught, but I've become, and I can't wait for it. But I'm so excited. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait.
Definitely.
And my kids are gonna hate me. And then when they turn 18, they'll be like, oh my God, I'm smarter than everybody else. How did this happen?
Always put them a learn always put them above of the learning curve. I know my niece right now. She's only 2 and love her to bits and pieces. She's the only kid I like right now. Don't get me wrong. Kids are cool and all, but I love to return them where they came from so I don't have to worry about it. But anyways, she's 2. She's very smart. She is mind-boggling just to watch and mature. But we're also trying to teach her, hey, inside voice is a thing. Hey, hitting's not the greatest. Maybe you should quit it. And then just not being a snotty nosed little brat. We don't want no cocoa felons.
My,
We
my
just want blues.
My sister sent me something is that having a toddler is like having a Pokemon. They follow you around, they speak a language you can only understand, and they listen, but only sometimes. And only
But
when they
only
want
sometimes.
to be obediently when they want to be. And the only difference is that it is frowned upon of your toddler fighting other toddlers.
Mhm.
And the only difference is that like it was funny because she has a kid, and I thought it was pretty funny. And it's still funny. Because it's true. So there you go. But yeah, no, but again, I think it's really interesting that the piranha plant. You should absolutely do Penelope piranha plant. You should take it. I don't need a royalty plenty of good ideas in it. But I think it's great. I mean, I might do that for a comic cover.
For sure.
Get a comic cover of you know Penelope Piranha Plant. Oh my God, just I'm totally gonna use that now. It's
Yes, for sure. Take it and run with it. I can tell you right now, so many people are going to be like, I learned this on this one channel. And now I'm going to go with it.
I think I might go raise some money and then just print a book and just do it.
Do it. Do it. Don't tell Nintendo. They won't know.
Well, I don't really care. It's parody. They could bring a lawsuit. I just know plenty of lawyers. It also helps that I'm Jewish, so I already have a one up on them. I could say that. I could say that. because it's
Is
true.
it because I'm Jewish? No, that's not what it is, and I'll you know what? You can keep it. You can keep the rights, you have fun with it.
I use that card all the time.
Oh, that's wild. I think I've had, when I was in high school, I was working with some of the freshmen as my senior year because I had, like, an off period, but I had a little girl who was Jewish, and she stood up in the middle of class, and she said, "Look here, it is Hanukkah, and I'm Jewish. I can do whatever I want." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" And I was like, "Cool, you have fun, but I just need you to get your work done. That's it. I'm not telling you what to do in that way because you're Jewish, but just be mindful. You have to pass this class in order to graduate." That's all I'm gonna say.
I have a very different response, and I am a very, very, very dark sense of
Dark,
humor.
me in a nutshell. I love dark humor.
So I said it, and I said, "Yeah, I can do what I want because I'm Jewish, and just remember, 6 million of my people died." So yeah, and I said that, and what happened is that a whole room just started laughing in
Good.
high school because everybody just because I never, ever, ever said anything like that before, and I didn't get into any trouble because it was ridiculous, and there was a bunch of Jewish kids in that class too with me, and they were just like, "Oh my god," because everybody got
That's
the joke
hilarious.
immediately.
That's hilarious.
Just remember, I'm Jewish and I can do whatever I want because 6 million of my people died. And
God.
it was in reference to another kid, and it was crystal clear that I just owned this kid, and the kid had to take an L, and
Oh, for sure.
the whole class just bursted into laughter because it
I
was
love that.
so unexpected and it was just so brutal, and it wasn't anything to deal with Judaism. It was just coming from somebody who was Jewish at the right time, at the right moment, and everybody
Oh,
understood what just happened.
I I love that. I know there was one time, of course, there was a Jewish kid. He was just kind of running around, and the teacher was telling him, "If I have to tell you one more time what to do, you're gonna go to the principal's office." And he just blatantly says, "Is it because I'm Jewish and you want to be the dictator?" I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. You gotta sit down." And the teacher just stays quiet, and the entire class is like giggling, but they don't know whether they can laugh or not until one kid just can't hold it anymore, and he just makes the whole class go off. And this kid is like, "Yeah, that's what I thought," and just continues with class. He didn't go to the principal's office, didn't get a write up, no nothing. I thought it was the best day ever. I was like, these kids are smart.
I pick my spots, and
I
and and my favorite one is safety in numbers. Just ask 6 million Jews that.
oh,
See, I love making witty, semi-offensive jokes because if they're good, it's funny.
it's hilarious. There's a right place and a right time for everything. And I
I
feel
mean,
as though if it's to make somebody look bad or just to crack a joke within within the realm of like, hey, there's enough of me in here. There's enough of my people in here who are gonna think it's funny. Everybody else is just gonna be like, can I laugh? I can laugh.
oh man, I have so many jokes. My Facebook wall is filled with them right now.
I gotta go look at those.
I,
That seems
I'm
fun.
roasting, I'm roasting P Diddy and Eric Adams right now.
Fucking mint. I love the memes that are going around for P. Diddy. I think it's hilarious.
You ought to see the picture of the roast. It's great.
Yes, let me see. I need to see this.
Eric Adams gave him the key to the city, so can he unlock his own cell?
Oh my god. I hope he can't. Although he is gonna be stuck with his face. R. Kelly, they're gonna be best of friends.
Right now. I mean, there's a comedy being written. It's Eric Adams, Sam Bankman-Fried, P Diddy, and R. Kelly.
Oh my god.
And
Look.
you could have Martin Shkreli as the warden. You could have Jordan Belfer as a prison consultant. You could have
He'd be the counselor. He would definitely be the counselor.
Tommy Chong in there.
Oh no!
You laugh now, but I'm telling you, this is a comedy waiting to happen.
Oh, I feel as though when they make a parody of it, Morgan Freeman is going to be the narrator, and he's just going to be in P Diddy's mind, and he's just going to be like, I don't think I brought enough baby oil for this
You
time."
could throw Michael Cohen in there; it'll be great. I mean,
True.
I'm just saying, you could throw Mike from the Jersey Shore. Also, he did prison time. I mean,
Oh my God, not the situation. He is the problem. That's where it all stemmed from. He is the problem.
see, I made the joke that the real investigation why Eric Adams is getting caught is because P Diddy turned on Eric Adams.
True. Oh my God, yeah,
They flip P Diddy to get Eric Adams. That's the real story.
pretty much. Look, if you get
But
one, you get them all.
oh my god, I was having a field day last night on my wrestling show where I was just roasting P Diddy and Eric Adams, and I'm like, you think that he could let himself out of his own cell now that he's a key to the city? What's the point of having a key to this city if you can't use it? Like,
Honestly, look, if you could slip through the bars with baby oil, I don't think you can do any wrong. I'm telling you right now, he's gonna smuggle something into his cell. I can guarantee it's going to be a small, small bottle of oil.
maybe Sam Bankman-Fried could hook him up with the macro economy.
Honestly,
Maybe
speaking of that
they
stuff.
could trace some Ethereum.
Oh God.
I'll be full honesty for those who really want to know. I think 25 years for Sam Bankman-Fried was a little excessive. I thought 15 would have been appropriate. But the fact that his number two got 2 years in prison is wild.
Yeah.
Number three, I think, got 2 or 3 years in prison. So, like, I had no money in FTX, so it did not affect me one way or the other. Don't really care. I'm a crypto guy. I had my money in my Coinbase,
Right.
so I was very happy with that. But I digress. But I love making jokes. But obviously, I do want to talk about though. Getting back to everything is that obviously you were at Etchy Fest, and Barbie Sub was there. Paradox Cosplay was there. Um, there was a few other people who were there. Um,
Hmm.
and so, what was that like too? Because obviously it's an 18 plus, and there was a lot of fun stuff going on.
So it's awesome. I love Etchy Fiesta. Etchy Fiesta was so much fun. There was Gemini, Lady Savage, there was Barbie, there was Paradox, there was so many more that I don't believe I got the chance to meet. But me and Barbie, we are the cutest little things ever. I had met her, I believe, last year, if not at the beginning of this year. Um, but meeting her at Oteku Cabaret is their little trope that they work in, and she's a fantastic performer. I love watching her, and it kind of just built on from me having the opportunity to work with a Oteku Cabaret or a Taku Cabaret, um, and kind of just connecting as like little performance sisters. And I literally chit chat with her all the time. I send her little memes. I'm always congratulating her on stuff, and she is so fun to hang around. She's so giddy, and it's wild to see her like in her work persona and then in just her persona. It's oh my god, I love her so much. With Paradox, she is the embodiment of a goofy goober. Just always trying to have fun. Just always so fun to be around. I love her. I love her work. She's definitely a blend of like family friendly and then 18 plus, so that's always fun. Um, Gemini Chrysalis, I believe is their Instagram handle. She is so funny. She's so pretty. She's so fun to be around. I worked with her as a performer at Etchy Fiesta their first year, and it was fantastic. Lady Savage, oh my god, where do I start? She's hilarious. I love her cosplay. She's a mixture of a meme that is just done right. It works every time. She's done sexy or beautiful Squidward. She's done Courage the Cowardly Dog. What else has she done? Oh fuck. Oh, she just did the cabbage guy from Avatar at KimochiCon in Dallas. Her performance was so good, and I cannot go on. But working with these people, it's so much fun because you actually get to see their work as a fan, like on the side, and then working with them is so much more rewarding because now you get to see how much you've built throughout the years, how connections can get you closer to people, and then just being overall friends with any and everybody. It's so much fun.
No, I don't disagree. Connections are helpful. They're very
Yes.
helpful. So I don't disagree. But again, I don't have any of those connections. No, I've
I
plenty.
don't know.
Um, But no, 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 because I think it's interesting, right? And I think the space is fascinating. And I'm smart enough to know that there's definitely more liberation going on. Whether that's good or bad is an open debate all the time because how much is too much and where should it go? And exactly, but I'm curious where you feel that all this is going because I don't remember 3, 4 years ago 18 plus cons existing as they do. I also think that bad girl art, and I saw a lot of bad girl art in my eBay store,
Mhm.
which I will promote at the end of this interview, no questions. Just saying, but that has also been revived heavily and become more
Mhm.
accepted. So I'm curious where you feel that all of the adult cosplay stuff is going. I also am curious where you feel cosplay is going in general because obviously a lot has changed in the last 5, 6 years, more so than I think any other time in pop culture. So I'm curious how you feel where it's going.
So I feel as though cosplay is on the rise due to more exposure. I know Megan the Stallion, she is definitely representing us more. So it's definitely being more popular. Everybody is starting to come out more instead of being like a little more secluded. With 18 plus events, I don't remember them being a thing 3 to 4 years ago, but I'm glad that they are a thing now because I'm starting to be more confident in myself and I want to perform and show off a little bit. And I'm definitely seeing a rise in it. It's there's pros and cons to it for sure. Pros is like it's on the rise, it's definitely being recognized for the better things and people are starting to come out of their shells. The con is its popularity is definitely more important than just having fun. And there's just a lot of drama. That's mainly the two cons.
So I don't disagree either. It's not just cosplay.
Hmm.
I reach out to guests and they won't want to come on my show, and it's so complicated. Where they're like, "Oh, I only go on shows that have 5,000 subscribers," and I'm like, the majority of shows that are ground based don't have 5,000 subscribers. Like, and it raises a question where you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, and I get that time is money, but if you don't help the independent media to grow, it's not going to exist. And at
Exactly.
some point, and then also I look at other people, and I mean, I've had top people on my show, and then somebody who is, I'm going to say it's going to come off bad, is not up to that caliber, then doesn't want to come on. And you say, "Oh, I don't want to come on your show because you don't meet my standards." And I'm like, but 10 of your friends came on. We're happy to come on. We're grateful to come on. And where do you get off on this? Like, and it's so complicated because everybody has different standards and everybody
Hmm.
values things differently, and it's so complicated to navigate. And it's a reason why I tend to go downward, where I would rather interview people in the cosplay community and voice actors who are the sweet spot for me is when somebody is on the 400th top voice actor of the week or the month. the top 200 are much more complicated to deal with. And with cosplayers, if you have less than 10,000 followers, it's actually easier. And I find that it's better interviews than the people who have 30,000 or 40,000 or 100,000 followers. And
True.
it's so complicated. So I don't disagree. And I think that unfortunately it's become a business.
So I think I definitely agree. Like some people who have more popularity, they're not gonna remember like where they came from. They had to come from somewhere. They had to start at the bottom and then work their way up. Sometimes they forget that and they just need to be reminded, not in a very like harsh tone, but just say, "Oh, I understand where you're coming from. Maybe we can work together when things are more developed. If anything else, I'm just starting out, or I'm just trying to build my stuff, but it's not for, oh, I want more popularity. It's just I just want to interview you to know you."
Oh, I take it a different position in which that I say, this is, I run I run me as a we. And if you want to be part of we, you have to prescribe to this rule. If you don't want to be part of we over here and how we do business, that's your prerogative. But this is how we do it over here.
Hmm.
And this is about we over here. It's not about you, and it's my house, my rules. And you don't have to come in. You don't have to come into my house. You don't have to accept my house, but you don't get to dictate rules in my house. I
You
dictate
don't
my
have to like
rules.
me, but you will respect me. That's what I live by. If you don't like me, you don't have to like me, but you will respect me.
And I say, look, and there's a whole issue in with guests, and there's been massive discussions in podcast groups, and it's very, very divided dealing with guests and other people and celebrities. But somebody said it really well is that anybody who is serious will understand how to respond appropriately and
Hmm.
understand how not to sound condescending and not like an asshole. But
Exactly.
and look, you know what it is at the end of the day, I forget who said it, but the Undertaker said it. The feet you step on the way up are the asses you're gonna have to kiss on the way back down. Because people
That is
forget
true.
that the feet that you stepped on are attached to people. So if you and look, everybody will eventually, as you climb the ladder, there's a point in the ladder where you will come back down. And every top cosplayer will have that. Every other person will have it. And there will be a point where everybody climbs down the ladder. And you hope that a lot of people who you screwed or didn't screw or helped out are going to save you and are going to get you back up climbing. But if you're an asshole and you stepped on a lot of people's toes, they're not going to come in and they're going to be like, see you later.
Karma's a bitch.
But I digress. I think we covered a lot of stuff. Obviously, I am going to give you a chance to promote yourself. So where can people find you, hit you up, bother you, annoy you, catch you at a con, all that fun stuff?
I'm a very sweet person. Nobody bothers me unless they're being annoying and asking too many questions. But again, I am Tiger Lily 416 on Instagram. I believe it's right here in the corner. These inverted controls. All right, it's right here in the corner. I am on Instagram. I do have a fans league, but it's not really in use. If you find me on Instagram, that's where I am mostly. So hit me up. And if you see me at a con, I will be at SumiCon in Houston on October 26th to the 28th. So another 18 plus event. Hopefully I'll be performing. Catch me there. If not, y'all can just say hi to me in the crowd and in the hallways. But yeah, that's all I got.
And then obviously I'm gonna keep saying you gotta support people and everything they do. That means following people on social media, checking out what they do, all that fun stuff. And then as far as I'm concerned, I am Pop Anime Comics on Twitter/X, Pop Anime Comics on Instagram, Pop Anime Comics on Facebook, Pop Anime Comics on TikTok, Pop Anime Comics on YouTube. Please subscribe. I got 1,600 videos, a lot of content, almost 1,000 interviews, a lot more content's coming in about 3 weeks. You catch all my old stuff from almost 10 years ago, and there's some really good stuff in there. But it's interesting. You get a real insight into how I've evolved. And I also run an eBay store. look for comics and collectibles, come shop with us on eBay at Pop Anime Comics Collectibles. And there's things like this that I sell in my eBay store, which are really cool. I also sell things like this in my eBay store, which are awesome. Books like this in my eBay store. I sell really cool cards like this in my eBay store, which are expensive. I also sell books like this in my eBay store, and I have all 15 of those. So if you want that book, it's an expensive book. It's like a $60, $70 book because I bought all 15 of them. Uh, it was a little pricey, but I'm glad I did it. And I may or may not have these books coming in soon. But again, I have all 15 of those as well. So that's a lot of stuff I carry in my eBay store. And if you would like, this is my Cash App, everybody. So you could scan that and you give me $1 because my Cash App's important and independent media definitely does need money. And if you can't afford it or you don't want to, it's not a requirement. But at this point, to get monetized on YouTube, it's difficult and every dollar helps. And I'll be very honest, I don't need your money, but it really does help to continue doing what I do. And it's just a reality of business. And it's not just me, it's everybody. And this is support. So if people have Cash Apps, Venmos, PayPals, whatever they're doing, and you want to see more of their content, whether it's my content, my friend Keenan, we were speaking at this last night, whether it's my guest, Tiger Lilly, anything that she's doing, you have to support what you want us to get made more of. And the fastest way and the most direct way is actually giving people money directly. Because chances are, if you give somebody money directly on any platform, it's going to go to helping them directly or indirectly continue what they're doing. So that's something just to keep in the back of everybody's head. But yeah, I appreciate everybody's support. But more importantly, if you can't give money, you can subscribe on YouTube and it's free. And that's just as important as money. So, you should be doing something to help people if you want to see this content get made further and further and further. But that's everything that I got going on, and I'm going to give you the final word.
All right. The lovely, lovely fans and followers, please subscribe to Pop Cultures or Pop Anime Cultures on YouTube. Definitely add and follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. I definitely have my DMs open. If you want to follow, if you want to subscribe to anything, just let me know. I have my Cash App on my Instagram. I will put that there now. If you want to support, I will be at SumiCon in October. Remember, don't be a dick. Karma is a bitch. And what goes around comes around. So definitely make sure you're being a kind person. Don't forget where you came from. Always help others in need and genuinely just build to be a better person and make the world a better place because there's too much happening already. And I'd really like to get out of this shithole, to be honest. Let's just make it a better place.
Well, I don't think I could have said that any better, Master everybody, and that is a wrap.